Hello and welcome back to Cosmic Oracle part number 2. Oh my gosh, I know all of my followers absolutely loved part 1, BT. The way that you explained what was going on astrologically with America, so many people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. So first and foremost, welcome back. It's always good to see you and spend time talking to you. How's things been?
It's going really good. We're continuing our research, working with our Oracle gal, and we're just continuing the dynamics of everything on a whole new level. Because again, it's something that a lot of people are just so stressed and have so much fear about, and so this is really more of a spiritual journey that they can kind of set some timelines with on a astrological perspective, which is something I think for the most part when you listen to everything that's going on out there on the YouTube channels and everything else out there, a lot of people haven't really touched into this in the manner that I think we're doing. And so it's very important for us to break the mold, so to speak, be the first, and allow that spiritual energy just to move through from the cosmos. And again, in our tradition, we believe we are from the cosmos. So, the Cosmic Oracle name is the cosmic energy that we believe as American Indian traditions within our Pueblo. And the Oracle is the gal that I'm working with. And so we thought we'll just bring the two names together and utilize that. So, I give many kudos to her, and she's still pretty nervous, she's working on it, but it's going to be a little bit of a time frame, but that's all good because again, she's focusing, she's expanding. And I'm sure like all of you out there know that, it's not an easy path once you step out of your local energies.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And I just love the fact that she's enabling her gifts to be shared through conversations like this. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to do, is to share something with somebody and then they can take it forward. So like, all I know is that my followers went wild for your last video. Honestly, they were like, oh my God, when's BT back? And I'm like, I know we can't get enough of him. So I'm so grateful to you for being back. And just so that we can remind everybody, today is Vietnam and Iraq.
Yes, Vietnam and Iraq, and Vietnam and Iraq. The reason we chose the United States, Iraq, and Vietnam, and the UK in my downloads from Spirit, those are the four major players within this reset. Iraq being probably one of the first to be reevaluated, and Vietnam being one of the last to be revalued.
Interesting.
And so I think it's going to be a real interesting journey as we step into this new energies here to just kind of, and again, this is an interpretation. There's nothing solid. You see what I'm saying? But the stars are set up on certain dates, and so what we have to be able to do is to allow ourselves to set aside everything and receive that information from Spirit in the best manner that we can to share with the people of the planet that are in this understanding of the Great Reset, of central bank bad, quantum financial system good. And so that's where we're at. And so it's and the two of today are really, when we sat down this weekend and went over everything, it was and Carla helps with this as well, because there's three of us, okay, that communicate within this energy, and Carla's my spouse, and so that way everybody out there knows who she is. And
amazing. I've been suggesting she joins us on a video, haven't I, from the get-go? She will be here eventually.
Well, she'll get there. She'll be there soon. But so we look at everything from different perspectives, and it's very important because again, we all come from different avenues of life. And we tend to make our decisions and our belief system on those avenues through our path of life, and so it's very important. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, great Father, great Mother, great Spirit, give me all the energies and utilize me to speak your words. Okay, so I give everything up to Spirit. I take no credit for anything. In my whole life, Spirit has guided me and got me through many transitions of good, as well as difficult times like many of us have gone through who are on this path, because it's very important to recognize who we are as a spiritual being. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with Iraq first, okay? And so Iraq,
I'm going to be taking notes through all of this.
yeah, and just so people know, okay, what I've done, because there's a lot of people now that I've spoke with that are astrologers that are just coming out and wanting to kind of see where I'm coming from, and they want to know my timeline, okay, because everything is a different timeline according to the stars, if it's minutes away or hours away or even days away. And so my timeline is not being made available to everybody, okay? It's just made available to me because Spirit has given me this. So, it's not something that I'm sharing right now. Maybe down the road I'll share those timelines as things progress, because again, these charts are specific to what I've been given through Spirit, okay? Yeah. And so Iraq is a very, very interesting country. And so I'm going to touch base on the ascendant, the sun, the moon, different areas that it's dealing with, from quintiling, sextiling, and different areas with Pluto. And then we'll go into the highlights of Iraq, and then we'll touch base with Vietnam in a similar mode as well. We did more closer dates within Iraq, and so we didn't take it out as far as what we did with Vietnam, because again, Vietnam's down the road in our belief, okay? Because there's certain things that need to be put in position for Vietnam to be able to bounce into the energies of self-reliance once again, okay? Because again, through the Vietnam War that the United States went through, we devalued their money, quite a bit, from the aspect of $2 and some cents down to, $70, you can buy $1 million of dong. I mean, depending on where you're located. So, there's a lot of things happening. So we're going to go ahead with Iraq first, okay? In the ascendant area, Aries is the cardinal. It's at 15 degrees. And again, I'm not the astrologer, okay? So I'm just telling you from the spiritual side. I'll give you the viewpoints, and then you can, take it from there. Iraq wants to be seen and heard. Think of that. Iraq wants to be seen and heard. It wants to be admired. It wants to be noticed. But at the same time, Iraq can be a little bit selfish and cocky. So let's look at it from the standpoint of this reevaluation that's going to be taking place. I've heard on numerous occasions that Iraq wanted to go ahead and reevaluate their currency prior to the reset. So that could be that selfishness and cockiness within their energies. One thing is for sure, they definitely want to be heard and want to be seen on a global stage. They're tired of being put in a position of things that were in a negative perspective with Bush's invasion. Okay. And so, that's a really, really hard thing to bring into that energy. Now, the chart ruler is Mars in Leo. Okay. And so that's the energy there. Mars sextiles the sun and Mercury in conjunction. And so they're resilient and strong. Iraq is through this energy. They're a natural leader within their community. I mean, there's many, many cultures within Iraq. It's not just a singular culture. And so that's something that we have to take into consideration, that Iraq wants to bounce back very quickly on the world stage, because again, they've been, put down for so many years, and they haven't had the opportunity to be on a world stage financially. And all of us know when we don't have money, we don't have economic stability within our own personal financial life, it's difficult. So think of all the people of Iraq having that difficulty of financial freedom. Okay, just take that into consideration. Iraq, they've been through hell and back. So really their ego hasn't really been bruised, just so people understand that. They've gone through a lot, but they haven't been they haven't been in a position where they want to be aggressive. Okay, think of that. A lot of times when we're put in negative positions, we allow our ego to come into that play, and we force tensions, so to speak. And so one thing that is really important to know within the energies of Iraq, they're not trying to force tensions. So if we hear negative aspects within different administrations on a world level, the globalists, so to speak, that are trying to say otherwise, I'm going to disagree because the stars say so. Okay, they're not here to create havoc. They're here to just get reestablished, and so that's something I think is very important within that energy. Now, Mars and Leo, both signs are masculine. Okay, so in other words, it's that tough energy, that energy sometimes that can be aggressive, but at the same time, there's a balance within those energies that is there within getting things accomplished and having preservations and determination to follow through with their history and their goals for their people. Okay. And then we're going to go into the sun, and the sun's at Libra. It's another cardinal. It's at 10 degrees. It conjuncts with Mercury. It's in the 6th house, but it also communicates with the 5th house. And so this is something that I thought was very interesting within that energy, conversation and goal. And so you have individuals in government and within their militaries and things of this nature who are really working towards communicating, which is something that a lot of times falls to the wayside when you've been overtaken by a government such as the United States under the Bush administration and been put on a negative aspect due to the, weapons of mass destruction, which was a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Those of you who know your history, Iraq was in the process of also going into a asset-backed currency and stepping aside from the central banking system. And so that was the whole purpose, in my belief and my research, to overthrow the government. Okay, which the United States, for the most part, has done that on numerous occasions, Vietnam as well. And so, we have to take that into consideration, that their own ideas and their opinions are very important to the people of Iraq. Okay, it isn't so much that they look at the world stage for their viewpoints; they could care freaking less. It's their people who are in charge of their energies, and so they're just looking at themselves. It's no different than when Trump was president and make America great. United States people were looking out for themselves under that administration. Yeah. Same thing with the Iraqi people. They want to take care of themselves as well, and so that's something that is really really important to understand, that there's a great need for exchanges. Okay, there's a great need to be part of the unified global market. There's a great need for them to receive positive energy that hasn't been there for numerous years, as all of us know. Okay, and so keep them in your prayers, and keep them in the positive energy, so as they move through this energy, that they're not only utilizing it for their highest good, but also for the highest good of humanity within the aspect of financial independence. It's no different than, being independent with oil or natural gas and things like this. They just haven't had any money. Yeah. And so again, think of that from a true perspective of how you feel as an individual when you don't have money. Yeah. It's frustrating, and it hurts. And no matter what you do to try to get ahead, sometimes that money doesn't come. Yeah. And that's where Iraq has been since the Bilderbergs had met in Jackson Hole years ago, and determined that Iraq would be $4 and some cents, within that turnaround of reevaluation back then. And so take that into consideration. The other area is Iraq is going to be an aggressive negotiator. Think of that. Okay. Some people feel that maybe Iraq was a bump that's kind of helped prevent this global reset. Okay. on a personal level and on a spiritual level, I feel they probably have been a little bit of a bump in the road a little bit, because again, they don't want to come back at, a dollar to dollar. I mean, they were $4 and some cents to the American dollar at one time. Think of that. Why would you have everything that you accomplished be taken away and come back at a low level? And so, they're going to be stern. I feel, they're going to be, tough negotiators. They're not going to just settle for anything, and if it takes a little longer within this reset to get things situated where they're on board and they have the ability to come back on an equal playing field, plus, inflation and everything else that's involved, okay, then I think that's a fair thing for them to do. Some of us on the other side might think, well, it's a bunch of BS because they're holding up everything, but you got to take it into consideration. Think of it from this standpoint. If you're working and you receive $20 an hour, let's say, then all of a sudden, something hits and your boss comes in and says, you know what, we're only going to give you $5 an hour. How are you going to feel? You'd be like, hell, I'm going to be finding me a new job. I'm going to be doing whatever I can.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not going to settle. And so think of it from that standpoint. Why should Iraq settle as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mercury is involved, and it's a quick energy. Mercury is, okay. So, they want to get it done. They've been wanting to get, this system done for years.
Yeah.
I can remember when Kuwait went through the similar situation, and it was done in a very short time, unlike Iraq. And so I've had friends that have been down in Reno since the beginning of this whole thing. Okay. And they're in huge groups. So we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars that are involved with the Iraqi dinar. And so, they have been on a roller coaster from hell, within maintaining the integrity of their belief. And many of us who have been on that same roller coaster have had people look at us like, we are just freaking nuts. And again, we're conspiracy financial theorists, okay? Not necessarily just a conspiracy theorist, okay? And so that's something to take into consideration. Libra is also within this energy. And, Libra is an air sign. And Libra likes to get shit done. Okay. I don't know if you know any Libras out there, but they're pretty. They want to get it done. We don't want to sit around on our ass. We want to get this shit done. And so that's something to look at. But again, while working strong to get things done, the people of Iraq and the government and things of this nature, they want to have a relationship. They want to be able to work with people. They want to be able to, shake hands and not throw stones, so to speak. Okay. And so again, that's within the sun energy. Now, when we step into the moon energy, it's a Scorpio and it's fixed. And the intensity is very strong in inner security. So think of that, inner security. When we're all put up against the wall and we have difficulty, our inner security is one of the biggest things that our physical 3D, 4D realm is affected. We tend to utilize the gut energy, which is a bad energy on a spiritual plane in our traditional belief. Again, the gut is not a friend of the spirit. It's a misguidance of direction. It's manipulation, and it allows you to make that free will of choice. Okay. Because all of us in our heart know what's right, and all of us in our heart know what's wrong. And so when you look at that from the standpoint of intensity, the people there are very intense in getting this stuff done, getting it done right. And at the same time, the moon is part of this fixed T square. So the moon, Scorpio, is opposing Chiron, and Taurus, both squared by Venus and Leo. There's a lot of concentrated energy. There's great preservation. There's a lot of energy staying in power, and they want to get this job done. Okay. So in other words, think of Iraq as a country that wants to really be in control of their own country again. I mean, the United States has been there for too freaking long, just like they've been in many other places. Okay. And, it's time for the people on a world stage to recognize that wars are just a money making situation for the globalist and the elite. There is no freedom in war. Okay. Difference. We are in a revolution. There is freedom. Okay. Because it's a collectiveness. War is not a collectiveness. War is an individual energy that is stagnant. And when I say stagnant, all it sees is negative. Okay. So it stays in that negative realm of stagnicity. It doesn't have the ability to move into the spiritual energy. Okay. Different than a revolution. A revolution is of spirit. A revolution is of idealism that is a positive direction for humanity, not a negative direction. Okay. So that way people understand the difference. And I think that's where they're at. They're at that point where they want to be able to build bridges within that subconscious energy. And that's where our spirit is. Think of this, okay? We have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. In our tradition, the subconscious is of spirit, and the conscious mind is of 3D, 4D. Explanation. When you can't handle the 3D, 4D realm, that memory goes into the subconscious for healing, and we block it. Many of us have just blocked negative things and just put them aside in our mind. But they don't in our tradition, we don't believe it hangs out in the conscious mind anymore because it can't handle it. Because again, it brings us down, it makes us sick, it makes us, go through all these areas. And so the subconscious mind is the true spiritual mind of connection with the collective of the consciousness, the source consciousness, and then our own individual consciousness of healing. And so it's very important to know that Chiron bridges this subconscious and unconsciousness within their energy in Iraq. Okay, so again, they're in a motion and a time for healing. They're ready to bring that energy to their country, their communities, their different cultures within their realm. And so this is something that's really important because it allows their past of being misunderstood to actually be able to come to a point where people can understand them, can see the truth, what took place within the Bush administration, invasion of their country. They need to set a new boundary for the world. Iraq does. And I think that's something that when you look at boundaries, in every country, it's just like, what Lucy, you shared with me earlier, about 1 million people in the streets. That's a boundary. People are setting boundaries. So countries are setting boundaries because the people are what is the country.
And
Okay.
just on that point, what I love at the moment is it's almost like we've reached a level of consciousness now where those boundaries can be put in place. Like a little while ago, it wasn't so much, and now we're just increasing. I mean, we've gone, like I was saying to you beforehand, we went from literally, I think there was like maybe 80 people at the first protest in London. Now there's 1 million in 1 year, less than 1 year. Like we're in a revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah. And that revolution is a marker in time for every country. Okay. And again, I've said this before, there is no time unless there is a marker or of a memory in time to set a line. I mean, if we never have any memories, then there is no time. And that's the way it is within the identity of spiritual energies. Before we take this physical flesh, I mean, we live forever. We come and go. We do whatever was necessary because again, we are able to.
it was
So
interesting.
once,
Like, when I was running this morning, I don't know where this was coming from, because it's not something that I'd been consciously thinking about, but I kept getting this download of, even when people pass, they, like, it's literally nothing ever dies. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And you just saying that, then I was like, oh, there's obviously a message in that, right? Because it's come through a few times today. So, I think that that's such an important recognition, especially at the moment. I don't know about in America, but here in the UK, we have a lot of people passing because of the program where they put the thing in the vein. There's a lot of people passing because of that at the moment, and it's very challenging, obviously, to have a conversation with somebody and say, their soul is just moving on to the next phase, don't worry about it, because it's so painful for them. But this is a massive part of the evolution that we are going through right now. This is a massive part of the shift in consciousness. Some souls are not going to want to do this next part of the journey.
Right. And see, and that's the beautiful part as the spirit, okay? We get to determine what soul journey we choose.
Exactly.
We get to determine if we choose to come back.
Yeah.
We get to determine if we choose to stay away for a while, then decide to come back as well.
Some of us crazy ones keep coming back.
Yeah, those of us who are on this, journey right now have been here multiple times, and it isn't so much that we enjoy it, okay? Because sometimes it's a pain and it's heartbreaking and it's difficult, but it's the ability to sacrifice for humanity. And when we look at a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, okay, it isn't, a negative perspective. It's a joyful, because we're taking the hits for humanity. And somewhere in time, through a memory and a marker, all of us have done that. The question is, are we able to overcome those energies in the 3D, 4D realm to allow us to return back within that consciousness? Okay, and so that's a difficult area. And so when we look at the area of Chiron and it being in Taurus, it is basically a money and financial area. Okay, so Iraq is really working within Chiron to understand the money and financial system within their ways. And they're basically bridging and they're bringing back a surface of society wounds and karmic ties. Okay. So think of it from a perspective of where Iraq has been through the years. Okay. Everybody has looked at them saying, oh man, these guys are bad. So they've been given that destination of a wound on humanity for no purpose other than greed from the Bush administration. Okay. So when we look at it, when we are dealt negative things, karmic energies always return to balance. Now, the question is, how long does that balance take? Sometimes it happens fast, sometimes it happens slow. It depends on how much chaos is going to be created within that karmic energy. See, and again, as we move through this 5D energy that humanity will be moving into, chaos is not part of the game. Okay. Chaos is not part of destruction of humanity. Okay. It is destruction of humanity, chaos. Okay. And so when we look at it, and that might sound like an oxymoron to some of you out there, what I just said, but there's a difference between chaos for humanity and chaos against humanity. Okay. Revolutionary is good for humanity. Okay. And so that's a different. Now, when we look at the moon is out of bounds, it's unable to control acts and emotions, strong emotions, mood swings. They're beyond control. Okay. And that's where kind of Iraq is at. They're on this pendulum and they're just moving because they want to get their money back. They want to get their people back. They want to have security once again. They want to have all these things. And so it's very difficult for them to understand that there is controllability within boundaries beyond what they have gone through. In other words, look at it from a spiritual standpoint. When you've been kicked in the leg, dropped to the ground, okay, very few people see the light at the end of that tunnel. Okay. And that's where a lot of people are in Iraq right now. Because again, they've been, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to reevaluate this. We're going to take this. And the hell with you guys. We're going to do it on our own. We're going to do all these different things. And again, it's uncontrollable to them because, again, they are not looking beyond. They want it now,
Yeah.
which, you know, again, many times, you know, in our own life, we want it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's a great example what's going on in the world right now. There are so many people in the truther community and everywhere around the world that are like, why can't we just do this now? Like, it has to happen now. And we get it from a human perspective. There's frustration, you know, there's ego, there's all of this time that we watch, you know, passing by. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen when it's going to happen.
Right. And so when we look at it, there's a lot of subconscious spiritual energy in Iraq right now. Okay. And the spiritual energy is a area that they want to be within prominent social positions. In other words, they're ready to take the world stage. They want to be recognized as a good country, not a negative country. And that was kind of something that my friend, who I refer to as the Oracle, she had picked that up from an individual by the name of Pamela Welch. And so that was something that she had written within planetary placements. And so as we move down, we also can see that they and I say they, the people of Iraq, okay, are now able once again to see great dreams, great accomplishments in their future. They're able to recognize that this is coming to a head, the financial system within Iraq, that it's moving in a direction where creating change, but also being able to handle that change within what's going to take place. Think of it from this standpoint. How many people have read, you know, over the years, somebody won the lottery, you know, millions of dollars, but they never had any ability to, you know, have money. So in a short time frame, they're broke.
Yeah.
See? And that's something that Iraq has to really take into consideration because they've been without money for decade plus.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, the people of Iraq are going to have to be able to handle this financial freedom once again and utilize it for their best ability on a world stage within their own, you know, area of country. And so there's a sect in Iraq, and this is something that Spirit kind of downloaded me within that energy. There's still one sect of people within Iraq, and I'm not sure which one it is. Spirit didn't tell me, but there's still one that is capable of violence and doesn't want to see this happen. In my opinion, it's probably energies that are controlled by the globalists. And it's an underground emotional extreme in my understanding from Spirit, you know, giving me this information on how to read this. And so we have to be very careful for the people of Iraq to be able to recognize what has taken place within their identity, because they know that there's still people there that don't want to see this happen. They recognize within themselves. It's no different here than in the United States or in the UK. You know, there's many, you know, fascists, communists, you know, Nazis, whatever you want to call it, you know, that are, you know, around the world, you know, that are not on board with this, allowing the people of humanity to be free on a financial basis or within, you know, anything else for that matter. So we have to take that into consideration within that dark side. Because again, no matter where we're at this time in life, the higher frequency and vibration of spiritual light that raises humanity's consciousness, there is also going to be a balance of shadow energy that's going to raise. Okay. That's one of the biggest things that my grandmother's taught me was balance within that energy. Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean we step into the negative energy. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist anymore once we hit the 5D. It will always be within that energy of free will because that's where we are. Yeah. Okay. So we have to take that into consideration within the energies of Iraq. Now, we also look at sextiling Saturn, and it's in the 10th house, and Capricorn's at 28 degrees. And so it gives a bit of grounding. So think of that. Even though there's all this craziness going on, okay, Iraq is still pretty much feeling grounded in a manner of stability. Okay, they're taking that energy to not just jump off a bridge because somebody says so. They're going to look and see, and hopefully there's water under there. Then it's a whole different scenario. Okay, but we have to, understand this. And so there's going to be some grounding within that energy. The intensity is going to be very high. A lot of emotion within the moon energies, within that energy of reverence for tradition. Okay. Because again, all of us have traditional aspects within our countries. The UK has theirs, the United States has theirs. Every country has it. It's no different than growing up within your neighborhood. You had a tradition within your neighborhood. Okay, I mean, when the lights went on at 9 o'clock at night, you better get your butt home. You know what I'm saying? If you did something wrong at somebody else's house, their parent knew your parents, they'd straighten you out. That was a tradition. Absolutely. It wasn't like they just just let it burn the house down. Hell no. So these are traditions that are not just part of culture, but they're part of the 3D 4D realm that are elevating into the 5D realm. And so we have to be able to look at that through the polarities and through the points that are going on within Pluto and Cancer. And so when we look at Pluto, it's in the 4th house, Cancer's at 23 degrees. And so it craves power. It is behind the scenes in power too. And I thought that was a very interesting part, behind the scenes in power. This great reset on the good side. Iraq is a very crucial energy because again, the monies that will be reinstated for those of you who have dinar will be used for humanity. Okay. And so many people don't recognize how important that is to be behind the scenes in power. Yeah. And so again, I think that's where the NDAs come into effect, the non-disclosure agreements that people will be utilized, because again, we don't want to just, wave a money flag and say, oh, look at me. No. We want to be able to come in with low ego or no ego, in my personal opinion, and have the ability to help humanity in a manner that is transitioning humanity to be self-reliant within humanity and not on government. Okay. And that's where Iraq is moving through. Okay. And so that's something that's going to be very interesting to watch. The hard issue in Iraq is the harmony within the people. Okay. They're going to have difficulty getting past a lot of their ancestral karma. Okay. Because again, karma always comes back, doesn't matter. And so they're going to be in a constant balancing act, not just with finances, but within their own deep truth of who they are as a people or as many people, different cultural aspects. And so that's something that is going to be often in a position of them being unclear. Okay, it's going to be a difficult time for them to recognize the principles of who they are as they go through and they receive this opportunity to be on a world stage once again.
Yeah.
Because again, all of us know that as a young baby, very few of us walked first. Okay. Okay, very few of us did. I happen to. So, I said, hell with this crawling shit. I'm walking. Okay. And so, but those of us who crawled, okay, you'd get up, and you'd fall down, and you'd like, well, I didn't like that falling down, so I'm just going to continue to crawl. Okay. And that's where, Iraq is going to be within that position of confidence, because they're going to have to bring their confidence level back into a higher consciousness. And again, low self-esteem is something that occurs. And I dislike saying this, but low self-esteem occurs a lot sometimes within the financial burdens of a community. I mean, look at all the countries that have been devastated through this pandemic.
Yeah.
Look at all the businesses, look at the churches, look at because they're business, just that's why I threw that in there. All these areas, they're being hit, and they're often unclear what they desire, or what their main goal is, because again, it's always been about the money. Now things are going to be shifting. It's not going to be about the money and receiving and hoarding it. It's going to be about receiving the money and helping your community, your country, and things of this nature. And that's where Iraq's going to have some bounds, to get over. And so that's something that is really interesting. But the great thing about this whole thing, okay, there's a lot of love that's hidden and mysterious in Iraq. So think of that. Lots of love and mysterious energies that are going to be taking place through this transition. So to love yourself and really do it in a manner that's in a positive way is going to be something kind of new for Iraq. Okay. Because again, for a decade plus, they've been in battle. So how do they return back to love? How do they come back into an area of deep layers within their ancient civilizations?
Yeah.
Because again, many times they've been at war with many cultures in Iraq. It wasn't always, some here and some there. They've been bickering and fighting for years. Think of that. And so for each of these cultural aspects to come together as a whole and truly come to a point where respect of another culture is okay. You don't condemn the other culture just because you disagree. As long as it's not harming humanity, as long as it's not harming our planet, we're all entitled to that free will of desire, decision of who we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's going to be a real interesting part. The mysterious part is how Iraq's going to take this new identity and this new information. That to me is the mysterious part. Where will Iraq go once they have been received on a global stage? And will they be able to become the great negotiators that I believe is in their destiny? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty huge within itself.
It's exciting.
Yeah, and so though there's other aspects. So there's Jupiter and Neptune. They're in conjunction with Virgo, and this can accidentally propel self into unknown situations, or perhaps over-promising situations. Okay, so think about that. Unknown situations, but you're being propelled into.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is a whole new platform, not just for Iraq, but for the world. Financial security within the people, because it's always been financial security within the government. everybody's relied on the government to take care of the security issues of finances. Okay, the banking system, the government, they're all tied into one for most part. And so, that's going to be something where the people of Iraq are going to have to recognize their position and at the same time become those great negotiators within each of the different cultures within Iraq. And so that there's no conflict as we move forward within this time frame of peace that is around the corner. And so that's something that we have to look at. Now, at the same time, we have to be able to understand that Iraq will be pulling this off in a manner of kind of somber and melancholy. Trying to find the word here. More of a different kind of a mellow attitude.
Right.
Okay. And so they want to be able to utilize a soft effect instead of a direct hard effect.
So more into feminine than masculine.
Yes. Yeah, nice. and so that's something that when we look at it from a standpoint of power, okay, the power is going to be defined within the cardinal T-square, and the power is a constant tension, and it's unpredictable, and it could be explosive at times and surprising at times. And the reason why is because Uranus is in Aries. And so when we look at the unpredictability of Iraq on a global stage, nobody knows what's going to take place once this happens, and their financial system is put back, because again, it's been so long that they haven't had the ability to be on a world stage financially. Yeah. And when you're running down the road on a flat tire, okay, you got to pull over and you got to fix it.
It's just a matter of how quickly you stop, right?
Right. And so that's where they're at. They're in the process of getting that tire fixed, but at the same time, there is, a opposition within Saturn and Pluto. Okay. And the opposition is within Capricorn and Cancer. And so again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier in opposition. How is the world stage going to interpret Iraq afterwards? Okay. And during this process, is the world stage going to be still trying to control their energies, or are they going to allow them to, take the training wheels off and go for it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's something that's really important. There's a exaggerated desire for Iraq to prove to the world, which I don't blame them. Okay.
Well, yeah, and also they're the first up for this revaluation that's taking place now. I know people have done it in the past and stuff, but they're kind of like under the spotlight, aren't they? This is what's going to set the world up.
Yeah, and it's not even so much of you're correct on the spotlight, but I'm gonna bring it down even a little bit more within that area that you just said, the spotlight. Okay. Now, many of us, have been to plays and things of this nature, and we all know what a spotlight does. Okay. But when you're on the world stage, the spotlight isn't the beacon that's a broad light. It's a pinpoint light. Okay. It's no different than when I was in drama and I would say a certain phrase, and it was an important phrase. The spotlight went from big to small. Okay. Just focus strictly on myself. And that's where it's going to be with Iraq, in my belief. It's not going to be abroad around the countries. It's going to be bam, the head on the nail, so to speak, of the spotlight. And I think that's really important for Iraq, excuse me, for Iraq to recognize within these energies on being in that spotlight. And so what it's going to do, it's going to be almost taboo breaking, okay? Because again, the last time they were in the spotlight, they were weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're going to be in a great positive position. And so that light is going to be much different. And how they're going to activate it, how they're going to be able to break through within that past identity to the future identity or the present identity, they're going to be the trailblazers. Think of that. Iraq will be the trailblazers of this great reason.
What contrast between the two, right? And that is a clear picture of darkness to light, right? What opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah,
it's such a huge thing.
And the great part about this spectrum that's taking place is once it's reestablished, then the people there will be able to move forward in not just a peaceful situation, but they'll be able to work together in a more conclusive and conjunction. I mean, they'll be able to work together. They're not going to be separated through cultures. They're going to have to recognize that we must be one country instead of
fragmented. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. There's a lot of hope in there.
There is, and Iraq, again, being on the world stage and being on that platform, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And so as we look at things as it continues to move down, Saturn and Uranus is a square. Okay. And so the current theme of 2021 will be all over the world. Think of that. 2021. Iraq's been all over the world, but in a different modality and gender. Think of that part. Different modality and gender. Iraq, for the most part, has always been in the masculine energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's in a different gender, how many genders are there? 2, male and female. I mean, just look down, you can tell the difference. Okay. All right. So
don't get too simple now. Don't get too simplified now. My goodness, let's not start that. Love it.
But anyway, the modality and gender, Saturn is in Capricorn, a feminine cardinal earth sign. Okay. So this is the stars telling us this, that it is going to become in that feminine energy. Okay.
Beautiful.
It's a energy that was a fixed energy within that feminine. Okay. Now, although some people might look at feminine energy as a weaker energy, okay, because a lot of people do. Okay.
They do, yes, but so not.
It's I'll put it to you this way, okay? Let's set this down just for a sec here. Okay, let's spirit kind of give you here so I don't piss anybody off out there, okay? All right. Feminine energy is the spiritual energy of humanity, okay? Now, when we utilize our feminine energy, it is a softer energy, but still a very strong energy within its softness. Now, any of you have lived around, a family of sisters or, multiple women.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll always see that softness, but at some time you're going to see the masculine. You don't want to piss off the feminine energy when it comes into the masculine energy. Okay. And so if that does occur, you better hold on to your pants and you better hold on to your glasses. And you might want to grab a suitcase. Just depends. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. Because again, in the majority of reality, very few women, once they've hit that masculine energy, can softly make things smooth again. It's going to be a bounce back and forth
Yeah.
within, days, weeks, hours, months, whatever it is. Because again, trust in the feminine energy is much different than trust in the masculine energy. Okay. So hope I didn't piss anybody off out there, but that's,
No, the other
that
thing
was
that
spirit guiding me.
I just like to add something to that is that the feminine energy needs to feel safe, like
Mhm.
really safe. It's the same what you were just saying about trust. The true divine feminine needs to feel safe, whereas the masculine needs to feel safe, but in a different way.
Mhm.
And it's just something that we must recognize, like as we go through this transition, whether it be the revaluation for Iraq, whether it be us stepping out of the situation that we're in right now. This divine feminine energy is an absolute must to be able to get us to the point where we need to be going.
Yeah. And it's really, really important to recognize that. And so I'm just going to kind of fast forward on some dates now, because I know we're in
Yeah,
some
I was
time.
just, I was just looking at the time actually, and I was thinking maybe what we need to do is split this out, do Iraq today and do another one for Vietnam.
Yeah.
The only reason I say
Yeah.
that is people probably won't be able to watch for over an hour.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. But there's so much within Iraq right now,
Yeah,
and so
that's it's great stuff that you're sharing. I just feel that to keep people's attention, it's probably better
yeah,
that we split them out.
yeah, and I think that'd be good too, because it might take a little extra longer for UK to get here, and that'll be another opportunity.
Boo.
Yeah.
Please do not give my
Yeah.
video a thumbs down just because BT said we have to be patient in the UK, and we're all over our impatience by now, aren't we?
Well, the UK is going to be very interesting, because UK is going to be the bow tie of tying your shoe, so
The
to speak.
last chance
Okay.
saloon is going to be the UK. I feel it so much. We're literally going to be bringing it up. And this is why my guides keep saying to me, this is why you're here. This is why you're here, because we cannot let you go anywhere else until this is done. And I'm like, ugh, why? But that's just my
Yeah,
ego. I'm okay with that. Okay, so you're going to give us some dates.
yeah, we're going to give some dates. Okay,
Okay, cool.
April through June. Okay,
Okay.
there's going to be a transitioning Uranus in conjunct with the Sun and Mercury conjunction. And so this is going to be something that may do something that they didn't mean to, may use force on accident. Okay. Uranus, which is shocking energy in a blind spot of cultural identity and logical reasoning of the mind. Okay. So somewhere between April and June of 2021, there's going to be some energies again that might want to use force in some shape, manner. And again, that's where it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the shadow energy trying
Yeah.
to put a
It's weird because
block
I've
on.
been I've been almost seeing a pendulum kind of doing this, and I've been wondering what that is. But you just saying that, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And
Swinging.
then in June 10th, okay, and this is a it's kind of a important date on a lot of these energies that we're reading,
Yeah.
June 10th. Okay. And so we got that solar eclipse. We got Gemini, the new moon, squaring the natal nodes. Okay. So that's traditional outward energies that we're going to be seeing within that energy of Iraq. And so the world will be probably noticing some things in Iraq. Could the reevaluation happen on June 10th? Possibility,
Yeah.
because it's going to be on a world stage. I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that there's going to be a pivotal point in Iraq around that time frame. Now, we're going to fast forward because there's some other things. November 19th of 2021, okay?
What date was that? Sorry.
November 19th. So
Okay.
I'm going to jump from June to November, okay?
I thought you said November, but I was like, I just need to double check.
There's going to be a lot of questioning on what Iraq's position and what it belongs to others, trying to balance the boundaries. Okay, so Iraq, I think, during that time frame between June 10th and November 19th are going to be how they're going to go ahead and reestablish currencies.
Oh.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Interesting you say that, because I keep getting October.
okay. Well, hey, it's October's before November. Last time I checked. So,
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
okay.
Actually, I told a couple of people this weekend, I was like, don't hold me to it, but I'm feeling October, maybe August or October, but I'm feeling more October.
And so that pendulum between those two time frames could be a very likely opportunity time for that trigger to be pulled on that system. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, once that occurs, Iraq's possession is what will belong to others, trying to balance boundaries and how things are valued. Okay. So Chiron shows up again, squaring natal Venus. Chiron again is money, financial. Okay. So that's going to be something that again, like I said, the possibilities of June 10th to November 19th for the trigger to be pulled is very solid within that time frame according to the stars because of finances. Now we're going to move forward into February of 2022. There's going to be a lot of energy being built in Iraq. So think of this, hypothetically, if the system comes live during that time frame from November to February, you would be in a position to rebuild your energy of your country because
Amazing.
before they didn't have the money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To me, it does. Okay. We're going to move forward also at the same time. They're going to be testing bridges of that collective karma because now they're going to have money.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, if this takes place. Okay. And if they have money, they're going to be testing who's with them and who's against them. Again, trade, communication, who they can trust, who they can't trust. Because again, like it or not, Iraq hasn't been able to trust anybody for over
No.
a decade, ever since the invasion.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you feel if somebody came into your home?
They
Say,
accused you of having all of this stuff that was never found. Like, you'd be
right.
pissed, right? You'd be angry. You'd have zero trust.
Zero trust. And so that's where those energies are coming. And again, they're going to be bridging that collectiveness of karma. Okay. So what goes around comes around, and they're going to have to be able to accept and how to move forward without mistrust. Okay. Because again, we're going to be in a whole new world. March of 2022, they're going to be asking for evaluation of current structures, leading into a drive for transformation and crumbling of old structures. So if in February they're bringing their country to a whole economically wise, and they recognize the negative structures of their past, then they will be dismantling those.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. April of 2024. We're jumping way ahead now. Okay.
Blimey. Please tell me in April of 2024 this is done. All of it is done.
I wish I could.
Oh, God.
But the financial and physical security will be shaken, and it'll last till 2027 in Iraq. Okay, this is just Iraq. And so this is what I take from that. From 2024 to 2027, Iraq's going to go through some financial instability because, again, they haven't had the money. Now they're utilizing the money.
They're going to
Are they overutilizing it? Are they, messing up? Or they're going to go through a bounce? It's no different than what I brought up earlier.
Yeah.
People have won the lotto. They might have the money for a little bit, but then they lose it.
Yeah. Which is very common when people aren't educated how to look after money and how to invest money and how to, help it grow and how to love it, how to have a relationship with it, then it
Right.
falls through people's fingers, right?
Right. And then take it from one step further. Okay. What's the commodity of Iraq?
Oil.
Oil. So will the oil export industry come to a halt
Yeah.
in
Maybe.
Iraq?
Well,
Okay.
you know, the way that everything's going around the world,
You never know.
possibility, isn't it?
Possibility. Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there again. You know, there's going to be a lot of areas there within that energy. And so we're going to move over to March of 2026. Okay. The in March of 2026, I believe that the truth of everything is going to be known to humanity in regards to Iraq. So what does that mean? I think it might mean that we'll actually get the disclosure of all the Bush and everything else that has transpired over the
That would be
years.
huge, right?
That'd be huge because again, without Carmen and without the ability to set the record straight again, where will we be? We can't live in lies.
No.
Okay. Iraq can't continue to live in lies on a world stage. And the only way Iraq's ever going to be cleaned of that energy is if the truth comes out about the Bush administrations
Absolutely.
and all the other administrations and all the deep staters that took away their things. Now, I'm going to add something here. Okay. When the United States invaded Iraq, many people might not know this. Okay. In my personal belief and my understanding and my research, and again, this is my personal belief, my understanding, and my research. Okay. You guys do your own research. You come to your own conclusion with what I'm going to say here. Iraq is a very, very old country. Old. Okay. In my understanding that there were giants, there was multiple areas of knowledge from cosmic energies, one might call them aliens. There were many areas of hidden treasures of history.
Yeah.
What happened to those? What happened to those? When Bush went in there, do you think he just went in there for that? I don't. I don't think he went in there for mass destruction. I think they knew that not only were they going to go on the gold standard, but they were going to start informing and showing the world these hidden treasures.
Yeah.
Because again, truth is the most important part of our journey here on this planet.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are those? Let's move back in time. Most of you might not know of the Smithsonian Institution here in the United States. The Smithsonian is been around since the turn of the century, 1800s and so forth. What is the Smithsonian? It's a history museum, basically. Okay. Here in the United States, according to what I've seen in research on newspapers that you can't even get anymore because most of them have been destroyed, the Smithsonians collected the giants all over the United States that were buried in the mounds of the traditions of the American Indian. What did they do with these? Well, they destroyed them. Okay. They destroyed all of them that they had. Are there still some there? Yes, there are. The question is, did the United States have giants in a status mode of sleep, so to speak, the way Iraq did? Just throwing it out there.
Question, right?
Just a question. Okay. So did the Smithsonian destroy ancient artifacts that the American Indians had that dealt with alien technology?
Of course, of course. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Question.
Okay. Question. Did the Smithsonian decide to do this so humanity would never evolve to the truth?
Well, it doesn't serve, does it? It doesn't serve us to be hearing all of the information that's coming out at the moment. It doesn't serve their agenda for us to be woke, which is why they've dulled us down with the food and the water and the chemicals and everything else over the years. Yeah. So, you know, and I feel right now, and some people will go, whoa, this is a little bit one step too far. I feel we should be questioning everything.
Oh yeah.
Well, everything.
Look at it from this standpoint, okay? If you were in the shoes of my ancestors, the American Indian, I don't care which tribe you were, okay? And then look at it from this aspect of your tribe, of your country, the Celts, the Swedes, the Vikings, whatever, okay? We all had the knowledge. There's all documentation of star people. There's all documentation of giants. There's all documentations of things throughout our history. The question is, when did that documentation no longer serve humanity? It's when we became cities, provinces, countries, okay? And that's my own personal understanding. Yeah. So that might sound way out there, but what if Iraq still has some of this stuff that they're able to release for humanity that never got stolen by the Bush administration and the people who are trying to dumb us down and keep us in the dark? What a better time to do that than at the end of the reevaluations of currencies. And so just a little tidbit and a little
we've got some great information in there, and there's a lot to expand people's consciousness in what you've just spoken about, right? And I'm going to just recommend that everybody sits with it, and you know, you don't need to react, you don't need to say, oh, that's a load of shit, or, you know, smoke more of your whatever. Like, we don't need comments like that. It's a case of sitting with it and feeling into it, because your soul knows the truth. You know, you know the truth deep down inside. It's not, you know, you don't have to listen to BT and say, yes, I agree with everything that you say, but there might be there may be one little part of that you go, oh my gosh, that resonates. And that's all we're here to do, right? Is to increase the consciousness. Yeah.
And again, do your research, okay? Yes. I mean, don't just listen to what I have to say or somebody else. You know, I mean, I've been researching this stuff since I was knee high to a grasshopper, and I've been through all sorts of stages in my life, from, you know, short and fat to thin and tall to, you know, all those aspects. Okay. And so, you know, we all change. Are all of us going to change at the same time? No, that's the reality.
Let's hold hands.
We'll all do it. Yeah. We'll always accept the truth at the same time.
Exactly.
No. Exactly. But just take this under consideration, okay? Again, in my belief, in our traditional belief, each and every one of you is an angel from the cosmos. You came here in a spiritual energy, took the flesh and soul energy of the 3D, 4D realm. Yeah. That's what I believe.
Here we are, doing our thing, figuring it out, you know, and let's be honest, we're all winging it. We're all winging it. We get, some of us hear stuff, some of us see stuff, some of us feel stuff, some of us pay attention, some of us don't, you know, and that's okay. Wherever you are on your journey right now, that's absolutely okay.
Yeah. And again, just recognize, you know, within yourself that there is no right, there is no wrong within your own determination, because it is your own path.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. And next time we talk about Vietnam, it's going to be mind-boggling.
I think we should book that in for next Monday.
Well, yeah, we could do that. We can definitely
do that. Right? It's done. So we should do that. We should do that next Monday for sure. I know my followers absolutely love you, BT. The men love you, the women love you. Everyone's like, oh, we need more of BT. So the other thing that we did say, we spoke offline, didn't we, about doing a video on sex at some point and the sexual energy and stuff. So we should do that at some point as well, because I don't know if you've seen it, I did a pretty powerful one the other day. And so many people have gone, oh my God, thank you for speaking it. I've literally had total strangers reaching out to me saying, oh my God, that was the video that we needed. Thank you so much. So it would be really great to anchor in some of the masculine energy. And I know I had a quick flick through your PDF, and it was very much about the, like, you know, the different energies around it. And I think that would be really, really powerful to do.
Yeah, that'd be great. We've been teaching a shame, sex, and relationship course for years. And it's mind-boggling, the people that have come through it over the years, and all the questions and the things I've heard over the years, from you name it to you name it. We'll go on to there. We'll do that on that particular guide there. But it's important to recognize, okay, that it's an energy that has been here since the beginning of time, one would say. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're of human descent or of animals, of lizards or whatever. Okay. And so, you know, don't feel that it's a difficult topic.
No.
Recognize that the only difficulty is recognizing that you are who you are and accepting who you are. Only two genders, you know. And again, I mean, you know, I appreciate all the nice comments on the previous one and things of that nature. And I mean, I do have a website. It's balancedtoe.com.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to continue asking, you know, well, how do we get a hold? You know, Lucy, you haven't got it on there. It's just balance, BALANC, toe.com. Okay. And there's a form there. Okay. I answer some things I do, some things I don't. Don't get upset if I get back or not. But you know, it just depends. Okay. Because some of the stuff I've covered on videos, and I've answered things, and I'm not one that rings the bell several times. I like saying things once or twice, and you know, it's out there. Okay, the information's out there. Lucy gives great information. You know, she lets you know exactly, you know, her perspective, vice versa. You know, it resonates with some, resonates with others. You know, and so that's just the way it is. So don't feel that, you know, we're not here to assist. Just understand that if it's too much of a common question, I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably not gonna remark back at it. Okay. Just, you know, I mean, what's my, you know, I get thousands of emails, just know.
Yeah,
okay.
I feel you. I get thousands of messages every single day, and I'm like, guys, I cannot respond to all of them. Some of you I will read and I will respond to, but you know, and I think that's just, again, a level of consciousness where people need to recognize when you're out doing this kind of stuff, your inbox is going to be slammed. So I'm going to put the link to your website underneath this video so people can find it really easily. I have done all the other ones, but
it's all good. It's like that. I was going through some of the comments and hitting likes and doing some responses, and
that's great. That's great. Thank you. Please do.
Again, you know, I don't want people to, you know, feel like, you know, I'm out there doing this, which sometimes I am, you know, sometimes I'm doing my stuff, and I don't communicate with anybody. Like right now, you know, we're going through our sabbatical right now before our ceremony here at the end of June. And so, you know, we're doing some, you know, some lower energies so I can stay focused.
What date in June are you doing?
It'll be the 29th.
How interesting. I've literally just today booked a mini retreat on the 25th of June here in Glastonbury. So okay. Yeah, and I was like, that would be really interesting if it was the same time, because it's literally just the dates have just become available, and I was like, I'll take it, because I want to go down there and get basically it's only open to 20 women, because we've only got the smaller center, but we're going to get really connected to the heart chakra and do some work there. So that's really awesome. That's really, really awesome.
Well, it's great timing. I mean, you look at, you know, 4 days away, there's not too much difference in energies, you know. I mean, when you think about it, when I look at the full moon, I say 3 days of energies, the day before the full moon, the day of the full moon, and the day after.
Nice.
And so those are what we do. And we do a ceremony. It's a 3-day ceremony. And so it's not a, you know, hey,
and can people in Florida come to that? If there's people in Florida, or can they come?
it's a very select ceremony. Okay, it's it's a Native American traditional ceremony. I'll leave it at that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, and so
But everyone's going to be like, BT, I want to come. I want to come. I mean, I want to come, but I'm not allowed out the country right now. So.
and again, what it is it's a reset. It's a beautiful ceremony that has been, traditionally, if you go to my website, you'll see the ceremonies we'll do, and you can kind of guess which one it will be.
I've actually taken a look at them, but I think it's amazing. And I know people will say, can I come? So I just thought I'd ask the question and just, so sorry, chaps, not right now.
Well, one of the things is, when we do ceremonies, I screen people. And the reason why I screen people is because most of the traditional ceremonies now around the world have been utilized for finances. People who are doing ayahuasca, they're charging crazy money for this. People who do mushrooms are charging all, peyote, all the different ceremonies. And, we're not about that. Okay. We don't believe in that energy in that aspect. And so, we take it and we screen and there's people that I've known for most of my life that will never be part of the ceremony because they're not there. Yeah. And it's difficult to tell somebody that you've known for as many years as I have, I love you, but you just ain't there.
But no.
I'll do everything else, but no. And so, it's just the way it is. And they respect me, but they keep asking. It's no different than me when I was buying old cars. If I found something I liked and wanted to try or purchase, I'd keep bugging until hopefully I got it. I didn't always get it though. So, that's just part of life. So, but again, we love everybody out there. We give everybody
very much. And BT will be back next Monday. We're going to do Vietnam. I'm so sorry at the beginning of this video that I said it would be Vietnam and Iraq, but clearly we only had time for one. So next Monday we'll do Vietnam, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, really soon we will have the UK. Yay, I'm so excited.
And the UK, because I've kind of looked at a couple of things that she shared with me already, okay? And so the UK is going to be, like I said, the 4 areas that we touched on in my belief and my understanding are the most important, crucial parts of everything. And so you have the beginning and the end. Okay. And we have the United States, we have the financials part, and we have the end. Okay. Which is the UK. Okay. Not saying that it could have been the other way around, but Spirit didn't have it that way. I'm sorry. But now you guys are marching 1 million plus. Keep it going. I want to see 5 million.
I've said 6. We need 6 million on the 15th of May. If you are in the UK, we need 10% of our population, which will be just over 6 million. So get your bottoms there, everybody. We are expecting to see you.
And just know, okay, I'm in prayer with you guys all through this. Okay, you're in our medicine wheel, which is huge. I mean, it's a 30-foot medicine wheel. It's up this small. Okay, and we do our prayers there. We do our communication with every country. We have stones from every country. And, I'll throw this out there, okay, as I close, if you have a special stone in your country and I don't have it, let's say in your province and things like that, find it, send me through our request there on our website, and I will send you an address where you can send that to be put into our medicine wheel.
Beautiful.
Okay. We have stones from, like I said, all over the world. Beautiful. And I don't want to leave anybody out, or any province out, or any county out, or any state out, or, anything like that. Because again, it's the healing part of your community and our tradition is really represented within the stone energy. That is the special energy of your stone.
Love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. BT, you are amazing as always. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, comment below, and we'll come back to you. We will be seeing you next Monday. Lots of love, everybody. Take care.
Love you guys.